Got it. Continue. Play.
Great learning environments begin with great leaders, and there are no great schools without great principals. Namaste, my name is Shibi Anand, and I'm the founder of Enable by Shibi Anand, an AI teacher community. Presently working as IT head Excelsior English School, Kottayam. I'm also the member of Wiki, Kerala Mental Health Council, and chairperson of All Ladies League, Kottayam. I'm a postmaster, podcaster, collaborator, and a lifelong learner. Today, I have the privilege to talk to one of the finest leader I know, Mrs. Ammini Samuel. She has worked in the capacity of principal in various schools. Some of them are Bhavan's Adarsha Vidyalaya, Ernakulam, Rajagiri Public School, Ernakulam, Mahilalayam Public School, Aluva, and all these three schools, she was the first principal. She also worked in Ameen Public School as a principal. I have known Ammini Ma'am for over an year now, and this conversation is inspired by her life. As an educator and a woman, I look forward to listening to her nuggets of wisdom. Welcome to this conversation, Ammini Ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. And can you tell us a bit about yourself, where you grew up, what colleges you attended, and where you got your first teaching job?
Okay. I grew up in Madras mostly. And then from Madras, we moved to Bangalore and then to Hyderabad. So my schooling was across these three states. Okay. And then in college, I went to Delhi. Indraprastha, that's where I did my college studies and my B.Ed.
Okay.
And then teaching, when it comes to teaching, it's when I came back to Cochin, Ernakulam, and started teaching at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan School. That was the one of the first in Kerala to have the CBSE syllabus. And that was, I don't think you'll ever guess, it was in 1977.
Oh my goodness, I was not yet born at that time.
That's where I started teaching. And then I went on to all these other schools, as you mentioned. But I've also taught in Kenya, in Nairobi and Mombasa.
Oh, great. So that has been a fantastic journey. You have covered almost every place. So, ma'am, what are some of the tips that you can give us teachers about ways to manage our day-to-day stress so that, you know, our careers are also as long as yours someday?
Stress has always been a part of a teacher's life, always. And because we have demands from children, parents, and management. And now the teachers who, you know, I have a lot of sympathy for the teachers now, they also have the stress of online teaching as well.
Right.
So I think when you start looking at stress, look at it a little differently, not as a negative, but as an opportunity to grow.
Okay.
To push yourself a little forward towards whatever goal you have. Okay. And this is called eustress as opposed to distress.
Okay.
And distress and eustress is what makes stress work for you. There's a positive in it also, in stress. Yeah. Now, to deal with stress, I think first thing you have to do is to identify your stressors. You have to know what all is stressing you. Okay. And then look for a solution. So what I thought, Shibi, was I would look at some of the solutions we found in our time and see if and you can see if some of them can be applied now. Okay. So we'll start with that, right?
Yes, yes.
Then, to deal with stress, first of all, you identify your stressors. Which are your stressors? And then you look for a solution. And now in today's context, I think the first stressor would be for teachers today, online teaching.
Right.
Right?
Right, right.
Right. So in the lower primary classes, what happens is children disappear from the screen. And that is understandable because they have this very short attention span,
Right.
and there's so much happening in the homes. So naturally, children will disappear now and then. And your best bet then is to arouse their curiosity. That is what teachers should do, online, offline, whatever.
Right.
Arouse their curiosity. And for this, you just use your imagination, change your methods of teaching, change your props, change whatever, bring in picture books, toys, music, dance, whatever it is, so that they can never second guess you.
Right.
Anything you bring in would be new. Okay?
Yes.
Agreed?
Yes, yes. Very true and very relevant, I believe.
Then what I find is in higher classes, this is a stress for sure. This is a worry, because you worry whether concepts are clear to the children. This is, when you have to take your teaching forward year to year, isn't it?
Right.
So for me, what I thought was a good idea. Earlier, when we were, in schools, we used to consult the textbooks.
Yeah.
But now for you, I think a good idea would be to find out from the teacher of the previous class, what are the learning points children are coming to you with? Okay, whichever subject. And then go to the teacher of the next class and find out which concepts they should be ready with for her. So you have your parameters, and within those, you enforce the learning of concepts. Okay.
Yes, yes. That's really that's very insightful. I think very simply put, but very relevant in whether we are going to teach our children in continued online platform or offline. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
And it's the main concepts now.
Uh-huh.
A lot of things have to be cut out because of online teaching.
Right.
But those main concepts, right?
Right, right.
Then another stressor. Can I go on to another stressor?
Yes.
And that would be, I wouldn't call it stressor. That would be the anxiety of parents. Parents today, understandably, are a worried lot, isn't it?
Right,
because, something different. Are they learning, not learning? It is a sad situation they are in. So we had a system earlier. So you have to answer parents, and they call it all time. They call it night, saying, whole day we were working. This is the only free time we have, isn't it?
Right.
Have you had parents calling like that? I don't know. Oh. But then, teachers tell me that, because when they're free, they call. Now, earlier we had this system where each class teacher would keep a book with the names of the children. Okay.
Right.
And every teacher who taught in that class would make her remarks in that book. So not just about academics, right, about their aptitude for learning, whether they need extra help, whether they are bright ones who can be, taken further, and everything about whatever their talents are. Any remark that she wants to make, she would make. And that, when you look at the whole thing together, it gives you a profile of the child, clear profile of the child. So when you go and talk to parents, you have this ready-made remarks with which to counter or encourage parents. Tell them, or whatever calls, just tell them. That is it. And we will help as much as you can. So the profile of the child is there. And this you can do even today. You are on Zoom all the time. You get information from teachers and do this. Okay?
Right.
That is another stress.
So I think this reference of a child in all the aspects, not only from the subject teacher.
Right. So another thing that saddens more than stresses really is that because there is no, absence of children in school. Schools are not open, classes are not there. So all the things, the finer things in life, character building, imparting values, and also having discussions on issues, social environment, all those things that just come up naturally in our class. And these things, they say, are caught more than taught. Really, really, that's what happens. So that is a very sad thing, not so much as a stressor as, and for me, the solution lies in our lesson plan. Okay, because when you write your lesson plan, whether it's the whole chapter or part of it, whatever it is, when you write your objectives, we've always said the last objective should be something connected with that lesson, touching on the points that I said, no, there are points we are missing out on. From the lesson, touching on that points on their daily life and their environment, whatever it is, something from the lesson that touches their lives. And this can be done even in a maths class, even from a computer class, hopefully, some lesson, life lesson can be learned. So the things that we miss out on can be made up. Okay. And so it is different. It is not what it should be. But then we have to find remedies for things as it is, as the reality is. And another sad thing is that little ones, the ones who just joined KG, no idea what a school is, where they go. That is a very sad thing for parents and teachers, and children don't know. They don't know anyway what a school is. Right. So I found that I've called some of the principals and I found that some of them allow parents, once the online admission is over, they allow parents, they allow parents to bring their children small batches and go around the campus and into the corridors, into the KG, so children know what a school is. And so that is something that can be done if the principals are willing to do it. That is what.
Right, very right.
Because, you know, I saw something on WhatsApp which said a mother, a grown-up girl and her mother are passing a building, an old building, and the daughter asks, "What is this?" And she says, "Oh, that's your school." Sad things that happen.
Sad state of affairs.
I hope they open up long before all that happens. Anyway, and then finally, to relieve stress, there is what is this quiet time, meditation or prayer or whatever it is that helps you start the morning. And for me, what I say to myself is every morning, I can do all things through God who strengthens me. That is it on stress.
I think that's the profound statement that you can say to yourself, because I personally believe that most of us are rushing through the day because there's so much to do that just jumping out of our beds and, you know, rushing to our kitchens and rushing to do all other responsibilities. But this one small act of getting up and just sitting quietly and talking to whichever form of God that you believe in, and to say this statement that I can do everything with the God, you know, that gives you so much strength to take the day on and to face the challenges and to face everything that comes our way. So I think I would personally take that as my lesson from this conversation, because I am somebody who literally jumps out from the bed and who rushes through her day, and I'm not able to keep my mind quiet, and I'm not able to sit down, and, you know, my mind is still racing even when I am sitting down quietly. So I think I need to develop that. And I know there are many other teachers or many other people out there, especially, who can develop this gradually and bring that sense of peace. Because when I look at you, that is what I see. I see a very calm and I see a very composed person. So I think it has come from over a year of your practice of, you know, being quiet and connecting to God and connecting to yourself. I think that is what has given you that calmness and that compose, which as youngsters we would definitely like to take. Moving on to my next question. What is your message to teacher leaders out there?
Okay. You're one of them, Shibi?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Then, see, you are the teacher leaders are the link between the principal and the teachers, definitely.
Right.
And they're so recognized because of their teaching experience. This is one thing, of their understanding the school's goals. So, not something that doesn't concern the ordinary teacher too much, but the teacher leader should keep that in view. And also the ability to handhold teachers and help them.
Right.
Grow. I think those are the designate people as teacher leaders.
Right. Yes.
So, do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree to that definition of teacher leaders. Sometimes I think we do call them as thought leaders.
Then,
yeah.
Then let me go on about this.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
No, wait. She has stopped.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Ammini Ma'am, are you able to hear me?
Yes. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So this calls for taking responsibility, not only for yourself, but for others. And above all, the most important thing for me is not crossing and interfering.
Okay.
Okay? You agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Now, for me, the work of a teacher leader falls under 3 heads. And the first would be involve teachers in all the discussions. All right. But for this, you have to be a good listener, right? And teachers, you find, are a treasure trove of information about children, about the school, about outside matters, everything. So with that data bank, you do a little thinking for them. That is the first thing, to involve them. And the second thing would be to support. When teachers face blocks, when they face a crisis, when they are down, that is where they need your empathy, very much your empathy. And here is where your experience comes in to give them critical inputs. That is one. And the third thing I would say is to recognize the good ideas that teachers bring in, give it a lot of publicity, not just to the idea, but to the teacher behind it. That is how, you spur them on to do better and better. And one example I want to give you from, what happened. When KG children have a free run of everything. When they come into the first standard, keeping them quiet and disciplined it's in the big school. So then all this running around has to quieten down. So you know what one teacher did? This actually, I know one teacher did is she sat them all down and then she asked them, what is it that makes your class so unruly, so dirty? And the children came up with the answers. We run around, we put things on the floor, we don't go to the dustbin, and we talk. And, they came up with all the reasons. So what she did was, she took a chart paper, wrote these down and numbered them. And then she kept reading these out regularly to them so that they would understand. And also they couldn't read. So she made them familiar with the number. Number 4 is such and such, that kind of thing. And then you find that when others are doing something, they call out number 4, number 3 or whatever. And sometimes the child herself or himself realizes, oh, number 4, I have to sit down. It actually worked beautifully. And we took this across the school, but with a lot of modifications, of course. And self-discipline. It becomes self-discipline from class, doing it to self-discipline. And that is something I think you can do in your online classes. Bring in, these are the rules that we follow.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. That was very, very profound of, those 3 nuggets, those simple rules. If the teacher leaders can keep in mind, there would be a transformation in the work culture of the school, and there would be a transformation in the teachers, because when the teachers feel cared about or supported, they would definitely go that extra mile and do what it needs to be, to be an outstanding teacher or an excellent teacher. Thank you so much. So this is my last question coming your way. We have all come a long way and a lot has changed. What are some of the things that you think has not changed in the education sector today from your times?
Shibi, the very first thing I would say is what has not changed is that very special bond between a teacher and a student. Very special bond. That is why, when Dr. Radhakrishnan was asked, what is it that you want to be remembered by, remembered as, and all, he just put away all his big offices and stuff. And he said, always and always and always as a teacher. That is that is so wonderful. That is this bond that we have. Now, when we look at, why children gravitate towards teachers or certain teachers or teachers in general is, when we look at it, obvious things. There are the obvious things. First is in-depth knowledge of their subject and taking that subject outside the classroom into the world, sort of connecting everything. And then this transparent love for their subject, which is which children also tend to develop because of this enthusiasm that the teacher shows. And then even maths, maths and I are really not on the same page, but I found even maths teachers, I found even maths teachers can bring love for the subject into the children. And this is what earns their respect. Okay, that's respect first. Then, of course, there are the obvious things, leadership, efficiency, but much more important is sensitivity and impartiality. Those children are very perceptive and they can see, what is happening and take it into their heads, and that influences their behavior, right?
Right.
This is what earns the teachers earns admiration for the teacher, this thing. And then to go beyond that, that is what even earlier it used to happen, is happening now. Teachers who go into the community and make their mark there. And they take part. Earlier, we had teachers, when we didn't have all these videos and things like that, we had teachers who went into old age homes, took the children there, or spoke in debates and things like that. But today we find with children on the internet all the time, so that they can watch what the teachers do. We see teachers going into the community, taking part in talk shows or discussions or whatever it is, or putting up their own presentations on social issues, on children's issues. And that, Shibi, is what I see you doing. I have never seen you teaching. I've never seen you in a school. Where I've seen you is on all these talk shows and being a moderator and all that. And then when they see, and the children can also see all this, remember, with their internet. So when this happens, that is when the respect they have, the admiration they have, turns to love. And love lasts a lifetime. That I can assure you, it lasts a lifetime, and teachers become role models. Okay.
Yes. So with you.
Then the other thing, The second thing, only two things I'm talking about. One is the teacher. The other thing is every school, it started by either a trust, an institution, individual, whatever, and each one has a philosophy behind it. And it is necessary for the teachers to understand what it is because they're teaching in a school with that particular philosophy behind it. But I find it is different. Each one is different. But I find that when you look at the vision, mission statement, it may be all in different words, very verbose, whatever it is. But one thread that you can see running through it is that each school, in different ways, what it is trying to do is bring out youngsters into the world. Send out youngsters into the world for whom education is a lifelong process. It doesn't stop there, it goes on. So that desire, with libraries, so many things you have that help to children to make it a lifelong process. And as Tagore, this is a quotation I love. As Tagore said, education is a permanent part of the adventure of life.
Very, very profound.
Okay, very, very nice one. And then that is one thing. Youngsters for whom education is a lifelong process. They read, they learn, they whatever. Especially in this era, technological era, there's so much new things they have to learn. The second thing is to send out youngsters into the world who have internalized moral and cultural values. Okay, so that they make these the bedrock of their lives. And finally, send out youngsters who will be an asset to society, who will come up and, you're constantly hearing of your students who have done this, who have done that, who've been there, been this, all that. So those are the three things I think that stay constant.
Yeah.
Okay, Shibi, that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am deeply indebted to you for agreeing to, talk to me and share your experience and your thoughts about these questions that I had always had in my mind. And I know it takes a lot of effort to be prepared for an online session. It's not like your face-to-face conversation, and at times sometimes it's very overwhelming for me also. So I can very well understand that you have taken this effort to share what you know with us fellow educators who are continuing our journey of being an educator. And all that you have shared with us today, I'm sure that we are going to keep it very close to our hearts, and we are going to try work on ourselves and try how we can connect to our children, how we can represent our schools, how we can help grow our schools in a very humanistic way. So I remember, reading this book called Meet the Humanistic Leader by Dr. Nirmala Krishnan. So where she mentions all these very, very humanistic values and qualities of a leader. And she mentions a lot of practical ways of bringing in changes to school. So your conversation just reminded me of that book. So once again, my heartfelt gratitude, Ammini Ma'am, for coming here and for sharing this valuable time of yours with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shibi. I enjoyed it because this thing is all new for me. I come from another generation entirely. So sitting in front of this and talking to someone, but I enjoyed it. And I'm so glad I could talk to you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Now,